Mike Paine has been working as a voiceover artist and radio personality for over 39 years and has voiced over 30,000 projects heard worldwide. Today, I'm asking him about his past roles, future goals, and advice for others. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Tell me who you are and how you got involved in voice acting.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Mike Paine, and I have been a voice actor since 1987. I know that's a long time. And I have been doing it ever since and still doing it today. And every day I love getting into what I do and opening emails and seeing auditions and gigs. I still get so excited every day doing this. You'd think, oh, after all these years, you've done it all. No, I get excited even doing rail announcements. It doesn't matter. I'll do anything. It's so much fun. The stuff I've voiced on YouTube alone has well over 250 million views, probably pushing 300 million by now. I haven't counted lately. I've voiced 57 audiobooks. The games that I've voiced have 1.5 million plus downloads. I've voiced well north of 30,000 projects of all kinds, you name it, I've probably voiced it. And I had 33 years in network and major market radio, and my very first interview as a young 19-year-old was the late, great Ozzy Osbourne. I'm also a coach and demo reel producer, so that's the short version of me.
The Ozzy Osbourne thing, how did that happen?
I was going to the University of Texas at Arlington. There was a radio network called Z-Rock, and it was based out of Dallas, Texas. And the overnight guy, I called him on the phone. I tried to play guitar. I bought a lousy, cheap guitar, and it was $50, and I couldn't play for anything. And he wanted to start playing, so he's like, I'll buy it from you for the $50 you paid for it. I'm like, oh, okay. So I met him at the station and just talked about radio a little bit. And he's like, you know, the guy down the hall at the Top 40 station, the morning show needs a producer. You should try out for that. I'd never been in a radio station before. I was 18 years old, no idea. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go try for that. And I walk in with all this moxie and attitude, completely naive. And the guy's like, what? I have all these resumes. And I'm like, I'll work for free for a week. I'm your guy. If you don't like me, you can just throw me out. And it worked. And I started learning from zero, and I started learning how to cut tape and do bits and do funny voices and edit and record and the whole bit. And then the guy that I sold the guitar to down the hall, he became program director of the heavy metal radio network and hired me part-time. About a month into my part-time gig, which I was still producing the morning show down the hall, Ozzy was going to record, and he did. He recorded some pre-recorded interview stuff. The brass from the record label and the network just thought, well, just put him up with whoever's on the air right now. It was impromptu, had no prep, zero notice, and in walks Ozzy, and it's like, just interview Ozzy for a while. Okay. So I did. Considering I was a 19-year-old, it was great, and it was so much fun. And, you know, there's this little porthole window in the studio, and you see all these heads, network executives and radio reps and record execs going, you know, peering, who's this kid? You know, and he just took right to, and they were like, how long has he been in here? Well, he's been here a month. A month? That kind of attitude. And from there, it took off. I got my own show, my regular shift, and I interviewed who's who of hard rock and heavy metal, you name it. I've talked to them. Black Crowes, Queensryche. There's so many different ones. This is young me with Ozzy. And then that same year, about a month later, I got a Christmas card from Sharon and Ozzy. And then from there, both radio and voice acting took off. And it's been a great ride ever since. I mean, it's so hard to put into words. It was almost like watching a movie in real time right before your eyes. And it's just, you know, famous people would pop by and, oh, Joan Jett is here. It's like, oh, okay. Hi, Joan. Nice to meet you. Yeah, it was just random, total randomness. And I'll tell you one really quick funny story. The one I wish I regret I didn't do. I was so tired I went to sleep, and David Lee Roth happened to be interviewed in the studio, and the overnight guy, who was a friend of mine, filled in for the morning guy, and he was interviewing, and David Lee Roth called, and I thought it was a crank call at first, and he was like, hey, Mike, how's it going, man? This is so cool. Wow. Okay, you know, and I called, the guy's name was Steve, and it's like, Steve, stop pranking me. Who did the great David Lee Roth voice? He goes, no, that was Dave. It really was Dave. And then it's like he played the tape, and it's like, oh, that really was, I should have been there. That would have been fun. But this is one of those weird things, like on your voicemail, you know, some people just get voicemails from whatever spam calls. I got a voicemail from David Lee Roth going, how come you're not here, man? Good way to wake up in the morning. So yeah, it was a heck of a ride, and it still is a great ride. And I still love voice acting. And, you know, if somebody out there wants to hire me for a hard rock or metal radio show, I'll do that too. I will do anything. Anything that involves talking, I'm doing it. I'm ready.
From the time you started to now, it's about 4 decades. Has it felt like that long?
There's some parts of it that do, and then some parts of it feel like it's been like 5 years. The Ozzy thing seems like almost 40 years ago, and then some other parts seem like it was just like a couple of weeks ago. It feels like it's like, yeah, that was 30 something years ago. It's like, wow, that was a long time ago. But it goes fast. It taught me, and it should teach all of us, to just remember and cherish the experiences we have, and don't take any of them for granted, and don't just go, I'll do that some other time, because you may only have that one chance to do whatever it is you're going to do. Go for it. Every single chance you get to do something like that, you'll sleep tomorrow, you'll rest some other time. Just do it.
What are some of the projects that you've done in those almost 40 years that have stood out to you that you've really enjoyed the most?
Well, one of them I voiced fairly recently. I am the voice of the Lindt Chocolate Factory Museum in Switzerland, the English-speaking voice. So when you go to the Lindt Museum, that's me. There's the Sunshine Observatory in Tokyo, the tallest observatory, and I'm the English-speaking voice of that. There's a game where I had to invent my own voice as a shaman tortoise, and that was interesting. So I just basically had guidelines of battle sounds and battle attack sentences, but no real specific things, because I had to make up my own language. And okay, that was a heck of a challenge, but it came out great, and it was so much fun, and it was just such a challenge, but such a great challenge. And that was one of my favorites. I mean, there's so many. I am the voice of a D-Day tour in Normandy, France. I'm on the bus that goes between the stops, and they show videos of what's coming up next. That is just amazing when I read like the TripAdvisor reviews. When somebody reviews it and says, I love the videos so much, and the voice really compelled me to, see the next stop even more, and it gave me so much background. And it's that stuff that makes me emotional, I mean, it's so emotional for a Normandy tour, and I really tried so hard to do it well, and it worked out great. And so many other things, museum tours, there's so many things I'm so proud of. I'm even proud of the church announcements I voice. I just love everything about voice acting. I really do.
How are you finding auditions for such unique and things all over the world? And then how do you go about applying and getting those roles?
The best way to do this is to have as many irons in the fire as you can. Don't depend on one specific source and expect it to be just gigs every minute. That's not how voice acting is going to work for us. There's a lot of platforms out there that I've worked with in the past, and even still now. A lot of companies I work with are overseas, and I work the other 9 to 5 usually. So that's their main 9 to 5 business hours. So that benefits me. And they do all kinds of things. They do corporate, they do narration, they do e-learning. And then occasionally they'll just say, hey, Mike, can you voice a slot machine game for us? Well, yes, I can. Of course. Can you voice a museum tour? And it's just total randomness. But it's like, yeah. And a lot of times, because I've worked with them so often, they'll just say, there's no need to audition. Just send me the invoice and we'll do it. Okay, done. And that's how you build relationships over the years. And yes, you can look locally as well, and there's ways I do that, and I show people how to do that with my coaching stuff. It's too much to cover in a couple of minutes, but there's a lot of different platforms and ways to search and turn over rocks that a lot of people don't think of, that are just not so obvious, but they really benefit you. And even on social media, if you search voiceover casting call, even on Instagram, you'll find some real projects out there that can get you work, or on TikTok or Facebook and Reddit, even Reddit. I mean, it's a thing. And I found work on those avenues. Craigslist, maybe not so much, but the other ones, yeah, I would definitely do that. Try the socials. That's my tip of the day.
Is there anything that you haven't been able to voice yet that you have on that bucket list? Bucket list.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I want to voice a pinball game, an actual physical pinball machine. And I'd love to voice a physical slot machine game. I've voiced a lot of virtual slot machine games, but I want to voice one that you could walk up to in Vegas or wherever and just put your money in, and then you hear my voice. That's ideal. I'd love to do that.
When you're recording, are you doing these things at home, in the booth?
This is actually my little booth. It doesn't seem like much, but it's a very tiny room with very thick brick, and it's an old ranch house and thick carpeting, and the soundproofing in here is amazing. Believe it or not, it's like, I tested it when I first started working from home in 2010. I was amazed at the acoustics. They actually ended up being perfect. And I'm going, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it, kind of cliche. Like I said, I've recorded thousands and thousands of projects from my own little cubby hole in here, my own little basic cubicle. And that's another lesson too. You don't have to spend $1 million on, a huge studio setup to get great sound. Yes, you have to have awesome sound and great quality, and noise floor has to be perfect. Exactly. Of course. But you don't have to spend the insane money to do it. And I'm living proof of it. I record here in my little space every single day and night.
How does that differ from what you've done
Yeah.
outside of the house?
I've recorded in all different levels. Some of the radio stations and networks were very professional, very detailed, high-end equipment and the whole bit. And then I've recorded doing traffic reports from a converted closet that was like 97 degrees every day, and it was brutal. And it's just a little tiny desk and then just kind of hovering over a little microphone and a little computer. So yeah, all levels. I mean, and that's kind of a lesson too, where you have to make it work and make it sound as good as you can, no matter what the obstacles, intense heat or equipment that's not exactly great. I mean, you do what you can.
Did you ever consider another career besides voiceover work?
Not really. I mean, I've done it since I was a kid. So, I mean, I could,
Yeah.
but it's just not me. This is what I love to do. This is what I do well, and I'm going to stick with it. It's worked for a while. Why change it? That's how I look at it.
What's one resource that you would recommend for other people in the voice acting space?
I am going to recommend forvo.com, forvo.com. And what it is the website that has audio pronunciations of words in all languages from native speaking people. And that sounds like a weird resource, but it helps me almost every day because I get projects from all over the world, right? And especially like the Lindt Chocolate Factory one that had a lot of German words. I had to look them up and pronounce them correctly, and Japanese words. I narrated a sushi course. There's a lot of words in there that were real tough. And I was really proud of that one. I only got one wrong that whole course. And Chinese words. I have a whole folder of just Chinese audio pronunciations, just so I could refer back to them. And that will help you huge in not only getting auditions for people overseas, but just in general with dialects and inflections and the way different cultures speak. It just teaches you so much about voice acting and gives you a lot of extra tools that most of us that don't know it or hear it don't have, and that benefits you greatly in the future. That's actually one of my favorite resources that I always recommend people bookmark, because you don't think you're going to use it until you need it, because Google Translate is Google Translate. It's not the best for that. For the sushi course, what I would do is I would take each individual word that I don't know, cut it and paste it into forvo.com search, and then it'll come up, and then I'll listen to the word, practice it, and then type it out phonetically how I would say it. And then if I needed to refer back to it for some reason, if I just couldn't quite get it, I could always go back to Forvo and go, oh, it's like this. It sounds more authentic, and I don't speak Japanese, but if a Japanese sushi course accepted my voice acting and the observatory, which had to get it correct, I think that works.
How would you say that radio differs from some specific voiceover work, like the audiobooks, even animation, video games, things like that, from your experience?
The kind of radio I started with was wild and nuts, and we were yelling and screaming and acting silly and goofy and having fun. It was just like the 24/7 party. It taught us theater of the mind and just to experiment with different voices. All voice acting is acting, right? No matter what. Even if you're doing an explainer video, even if you're doing an instructional video about how to hook up a Bluetooth speaker, it's still voice acting. And same with radio, unless you're just doing, that was Fleetwood Mac, and now here's some Gloria Estefan. I mean, you could do that in your sleep. We're talking personality and doing interviews and doing all that stuff. That takes a lot to do. And to me, that's acting, because a lot of people that met me, they're like, wow, you're not screaming and yelling. If I was that person in real life, I'd be insufferable. It's an act, but it's fun too, right?
What are some of those major skills that are really important for voice acting, in your opinion?
For me, one of the most important things is to get in there and do it and get your feet wet and do script sessions and do live reads with people, whether it's your friends or someone like me that I have coaching sessions regularly with groups of people, or one-on-one, and just to get different scripts with different contexts, right? So sometimes we'll get auditions with zero direction, just here, good luck. Guess what tone you think is right. We've had those before. We've all had those. And then there's some with, 20 paragraphs for a 2-line, cop number 4 line. It's like, you just say halt, who goes there, and that's your line. And then there's good direction where they'll walk you through the character's backstory, just the right amount, and then each individual line has the subtext to it, which, the subtleties and the nuances where you kind of pick up on it. And working with someone else and saying, why don't we try the line this way? I like that last line. Why don't we just change the ending and punch it a little harder? Make it a little more scary, make it a little more emotional, have your voice crack like you're almost crying, and trying different things. So that gets you the experience of not only how to interpret scripts, but how to audition properly and do a live recorded session with someone that may or may not have 100% of an idea of exactly what that character or voice is going to sound like, right? So a lot of times, my second audition, when they allow 2 or more clips, is the one that gets me the gig almost 50% or more of the time, because they'll think, I never really imagined the character sounding like that, but I kind of like that better than the way I wrote it. So yeah, what can we do version 2 for this character? Yes, we can. If you do great auditions, especially the second one where you just really, think out of the box and do your own version of it, they may not hire you for that character or that role or even that game or project, but the next one, if you're professional, of course, they want to work with you. And I've had projects where I didn't get the role, but I got another, they're like, we have to use you in the game somehow. You're not good for the main role, but you've got to work with us. So can you do the secondary character? Yes, I'm still in the game. Of course I will. Absolutely. Script interpretation for me is huge.
What do people need to know about demo reels? How do they work? What are they used for? And how have you gone about creating them and helping people through that process?
Your demo reel is basically the old school business card, right? So it's your audio version of who you are and what you sound like within 65 to 90 seconds, maybe tops. And your audio is so much more than 90 seconds, right? But you really have a short time. You have 3 to 5 seconds max to impress someone. So that first clip has to be incredible. Impressions aren't voice acting. I read all original scripts based on brainstorming sessions with each individual person. It's not a cookie cutter thing. It's not a demo reel mill where they just say, hey, pick 5 of these generic scripts and we'll do it that everybody's heard of, because that'll automatically get you canceled from a casting director. You don't want that. So I have my pulse on what's going on out there, and I work with each individual person. And let's say they love anime more than anything. Great, we'll write an anime voiceover. Each individual script is tailored to them. So what that means is you get a full demo reel, plus you get all the niche individually produced reels, because a lot of times you can't describe to a casting director, for example, saying, well, it's the 4th clip in and it starts with hi, my name, and they've already lost interest and they're already on to the next one. I can't tell you how many jobs I've gotten with individual niche reels. I have a werewolf demo, I have an angry dad demo, a golf demo. I mean, individual niche demo reels, which I am a big advocate of because that helps you get work. Live recorded is fine. Some people don't like the pressure of the live recorded as much. They want to do it on their own time, which is fine with me. Their timeline is my timeline. So either way, and then after we're done, I also include everything about the business that I know. So the business side of voiceover, as well as where to find meaningful work without the pay to play stuff. That's a big start with people starting out that don't have a humongous budget to spend $5,000 on a pay to play membership. And it's like, I get it. I mean, that's a massive amount of money for all of us, right? It's a good lesson to learn that you don't have to spend the thousands of dollars. My demo reel production all in is $250. And that's it. There's no games. I don't play around. I don't gatekeep, and I don't weave in 20% effect with 80% of heavy marketing or talk in circles. But you know what? I'm here to help people on all levels. And that is almost as refreshing and encouraging and heartfelt emotional happiness than it is to voice act. It's almost the same for me. And to see all these success stories, it just makes my whole week happy. It really does. If you have the greatest voice in the world, if it's the same voice all the way through, they're going to go, well, great, you have that one voice, and they'll put you in a virtual folder and forget about you. You got to knock them out with that first demo, that first 5-6 seconds, and then the second one. Wow, you can do that and that? Okay, let me keep listening. That's the impression you want to make on people.
What's your last words of advice?
When you voice act and you've been paid for something, even if it's one word, you are a professional voice actor. I see a lot of people that put aspiring, wannabe, amateur. No, don't do that. You are a professional voice actor. If you've been paid, you are a professional. If you've been paid and you did a real project, you're a pro. That's it. So think along those lines. And I had someone that I talked with the other day, and they're like, well, I got a role and I was a zombie in a game and it was my first paid role. No, that's wrong. Say, I'm a zombie in a game. That's my first role and it's so cool. Change the way you think, not just, well, I just did this little thing. No, I'm a zombie. How cool is most people never get to do that and get excited about it. Wear it as a badge. I get excited about, I narrated the Lindt Chocolate Factory Museum tour. I love that. I mean, some people are like, I just did a narration. No, have fun with it. Be proud of that. Everybody should be proud of what they do. And don't listen to the gatekeepers and the negatives. And it's the internet, right? There's always going to be somebody commenting saying, oh, your voice is terrible. Don't listen to them. Learn confidence. That's one of the biggest parts of any voice acting entertainment medium of any kind, learn that inner confidence. Everybody's got bad days. Everybody lets a comment get to them. Have fun with this. Yeah, there's nerves and stuff, but it's like, cool, I get to voice whatever this is. That's so cool. I still feel like that every day, and I'm an old guy, so why not,
I appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Tess. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.